to A Web of Stories. This is Melinda, and you're about to see my weekly reading vlog. Last week's was pretty long. I'm hoping this week's isn't as long. We shall see. Still in my daughter-free setup. Still have not figured out the microphone situation. So anyway, let's start the vlog, and then I will be back with a wrap-up at the end. It's Friday, April 28th. Last week's vlog just went up, so now I'm starting next week. I was going to do a video with my daughter today, but getting the vlog video up ended up being a lot more work than I thought. It's also really hot, and we're still adjusting to heat. So you can see from my kitty. Say hi, Alice. She's camped out on my bed, and so she thinks this is her bed, so we have battles for supremacy frequently. Anyway, bookish content. It is only April 28th, but I apparently am getting a head start on Mental Health May because I started reading this book, Faithful by Alice Hoffman. I did not realize that it's about a young woman who is dealing with severe depression and PTSD and all that. So I always say I accidentally add or inadvertently add books to my TBR or to these readathons because it just happens. So I'm going to count this one. Only because I don't think I'm going to finish it before May 1st. Okay, that's it. If I finish it before May 1st, then I'm not going to count it. But if I read it into May, I am going to count it. But I've had this book for a long time. I'm just finally getting around to it. So anyway, it is hot here. I have to go make dinner soon, which I'm not looking forward to. I want a break from doing dinner, but I'm not going to get one. I could just stay up here with Miss Alice. Does not want to be on video. Anyhow, there you go. We're starting this week's vlog off right. Talk to you later. Once again, I just did a really wonderful video and was not recording. So let me see if I can remember everything I said. First of all, lots of lovely blooms behind me. Second of all, my cat is trying to escape. Third of all, I started Mental Health May earlier than I expected because I did not realize that Faithful by Alice Hoffman, which I started to read, deals with mental health, but I'm going to count it if I finish it in May, which I probably will. I mean, if I don't finish it in April, which I probably won't, I will finish it in May, and in which case I will count it. I'm hoping to do the video that I wanted to do yesterday but didn't get around to. That is full of spicy opinions. Those are always kind of fun to do. And I have noticed that I get the most traffic on my more ranty videos. So we'll see how that one does. But that will be either this week or next week, depending on whether I get that one tag done. Maybe I'll do that tag too. We'll see. I need to really sit down and think about it. So I better go before the cat actually escapes. I wish you could just see her right now. She's trying so hard. Talk to you later. Hello, today is Sunday, April 30th. It is my husband's birthday. He is, I believe, playing video games with his cousin and his brother. Like, you know, all connected, playing through the Xbox thing. So he's doing what he wants to do. I am about to sit down and read. Confession, I did not read at all yesterday. I can't remember the last, kids are making noise. I can't remember the last time I didn't read at all. Oh well. So that's that. Yeah, so today's last day of April, tomorrow, and as I said, I accidentally got a head start on Mental Health May because I didn't realize that this book dealt with mental illness. So I didn't mean to head start, but I'm reading this. I'm obviously not going to finish it today, so it is going to count for Mental Health May. So that started early, but then Horror Mayhem also starts tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that. And after I do some reading, I'm probably going to go do my April wrap-up video. So we'll see. I'll talk to you later. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, May 2nd, and I was just watching Ms. Reads a Lot, most recent video about her second booktube birthday. So happy birthday, Sandy. Booktube birthday, Sandy. And she mentioned she wanted to do more vlogs, but sometimes it's hard to, you just forget to video, and I realized I forgot to video anything yesterday. So I have been reading. I finished Faithful by Alice Hoffman, which, oh my goodness, I just loved that book. I say that every Alice Hoffman book I read, and I certainly have not read her entire backlist, but I'm getting to there slowly. I would hold the book up, but I have already packaged it up. Hopefully none of my postal book group sees this, but it's my postal book group book this year. I had another book all packaged up, ready to go. I was going to send Wandering Souls by Cecile Pin. I guess. Cecile Pin. I even took French. I should know that. And I actually opened the package and tore the page of the journal out and redid it with Faithful. Not that there's anything against Wandering Souls. I loved Wandering Souls. My last few books that I have done for this book group have been like real downers. And so I thought maybe something a little more optimistic. And whether Wandering Souls is a beautiful book, it's not really the most optimistic. And hard stuff does happen in Faithful, but it is ultimately optimistic, which is why I switched it. So the fact that I pulled out Wandering Souls is not at all a commentary on that book. And I'm a couple stories in on Other Terrors, which I am enjoying. I don't want to talk too much about the specifics because they're short stories. So if I were to talk about a specific short story, it would be really hard to do without spoiling. So I'll just say I'm really liking the fact that I get introduced to new authors this way. So yeah, that one is really fun. So yeah, my normal sort of reading schedule is like I read print during the day and then at night I read on my Kobo. I currently have the book, Hello Beautiful, remember the title, by Napolitano, which I've been reading at night. I think I need to switch that up or something because I'm enjoying that book, but it's long and it's a library book, so I need to get it done by a certain date. So I might have to start reading that one during the day, but my lamp is acting weird, which is why I like to read. I don't know. We'll see. My plan now that I have finished Faithful is to start Saturday Night at the Lakeside Supper Club by J. Ryan Stradal, which is a book that I've really been looking forward to. I love that author. So I'm not sure. I don't want to put that one off because I wanted to pick it up as soon as I got it, and I made myself wait until May. But we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm sure I will tell you what I've done in my next little vlog. So it's off grocery shopping today, and we'll see what happens. So today is Wednesday, May 3rd. I'm freshly showered. I went to the gym. Yay me. I just want to share, I'm still, as far as my reading's going, really well. I started, hold on a sec here. I got to try and hold the phone and move things around. I started this book yesterday and I got like that far in it. It's a good book. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I have loved J. Ryan Stradal's earlier books. This is not disappointing. I quite enjoy it. However, trigger warnings if you deal with infertility or pregnancy loss. There you go. But I did want to talk about, this is just like, sorry. This is just an interesting kind of thing that, I talk about this when I did my TBR video for May. And I said, this is what I'm planning to read for my readathons. I'm doing Mental Health May and Horror Mayhem. But things kind of always just sort of happen on it. This happens all the time in the summer when I do big books of summer challenge. I start reading ebooks and I don't realize they're like 500 pages long. But anyway, for these two, which were Horror Mayhem and Mental Health May, but I'm going to talk specifically about Mental Health May. One of the books that I am reading this month, which I was not reading for Mental Health May, it's actually a reread for me, is The Reading List by Sara Nisha Adams. I think it's Sara and not Sarah. I'm not sure. The Book Cougars are doing a read along this month. And I have read this book. I read it, I think last year. I think it was last year I read it and I really enjoyed it. I believe it was a 5-star book for me. It was at least a 4.5, if not a 5-star. It's 5 stars for me when I look at my Goodreads page, but I round up on Goodreads, so I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, but I'm listening to it again, so it's fresh in my mind for the discussion. I had totally forgotten that there is a mental health component to this. So now it works for two things. That happens to me every single time I do a readathon, that you start getting, things start falling into place. And I just think that's really cool. I don't know. I just wanted to share that. Another little thing I've decided to do on my channel, people really seem to like my spicy opinions video. And so I think I'm going to do that as a monthly series. However, we're going to say every 6 months. I'm going to do kind of a going back at my spicy opinions and seeing if I've learned anything, changed my mind after discussing people. So we'll do like a recap. The first one I did came out May 2nd. I'm going to count that as my April spicy opinions because I have one more I want to do before June. So I'm going to do another spicy opinions video. They'll be out either next week or the week after that. And then in June, I'm going to look back at the videos that I have done so far before I actually realized it was a series I'm doing. And I'm going to go through the opinions and see if I've changed my mind about any of them, or if there's something I want to add or whatever. So yeah, that's coming up. So yeah, today is a Wednesday. My son has early release, which means I don't get as much reading time, at least until he gets home. And there you go. I leave on Saturday. Not that this will be reflected in this vlog, but I leave on Saturday for the Girl Scout camp out, which I don't even know what I'm doing at this thing, but whatever, I'm going. And we'll see. It's 26 hours, and then I'll be home. I'm going to lock myself in the bedroom when I get home, take a shower, and read until my husband orders pizza and picks it up, and then I'm going to go have pizza, and then I'm going to come back up to my room and I'm going to read if I have time. If not, I'm going to, just because I have a plan at 7 o'clock that night to talk to my bookish best friends, because we Zoom every couple weeks, and we're all local, but we're local in the larger metro area. So during COVID, we just started Zooming every couple weeks, and we've just kind of kept that going. It's easier than like trying to find a time where we can all meet up and all that. So anyway, that is what's going on with me now. I'm hoping I can finish putting together my April wrap up to post tomorrow. We'll see. So if you see this vlog before you see my April wrap up, that means I did not do it. Okay, talk to you later. Hello. It is May the 4th. Actually, I went all day thinking it was Cinco de Mayo today. Oops. I guess I won't be sending my family out for tacos tonight. Anyway, it's May the 4th. I just got back from the library book sale, and I got some more books for my stash, but I also got some books for myself that do not add to my TBR. No mistake like I had last time. I got 3 books. These are all books. Well, 2 of them are books I have read that are going on my keeper shelf, and 1 is a book that I am currently reading that I know is going to go on my keeper shelf. So here we go. The first book is The Lager Queen of Minnesota by J. Ryan Stradal. I am currently reading his newest book, Saturday Night at the Lakeside Supper Club. I love his books. They're so great. He has another book called Kitchens of the Great Midwest, excuse me. They did not have that. I would have bought it if they had it, but they did not. So I just got this one. So that's going on. And then I got this really nice, pristine copy of A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I read this book as a child, and I remember enjoying it, but I don't remember that much about it. So I plan to reread it. However, I already have an e-copy of it. So because of that, an ebook copy of it, because of that, this is not going on my TBR. It's already on the TBR. But yeah, I love this copy. I want this on my shelf. By the way, both The Lager Queens of Minnesota and this were $4, just so you know. And then finally, you know what book this is. Oh, it's so heavy. This was also $4. I'm still in the middle of this. I'm over the 50% mark. I know I'm enjoying it enough to know I want it on my keeper shelf. But man, when you get a book this big for $4, you pick it up. So these are my 3 books that I got for myself that do not count towards my TBR. And I did not get anything that did count towards my TBR. Speaking of that, I wanted to add sort of something to my April wrap-up that I forgot to include. I forgot to include my book haul, and I just realized I forgot to include my books. So I'm going to pop away for a second and be right back. So if you remember, I have sort of a method for buying books. I still allow myself to buy books, but what I do is I limit the number of print books I allow myself to buy each month. The way the formula goes is, and I've decided to kind of keep track throughout the year. So this is not like an absolute per month. I can go negative as long as I make it up, which is good because I totally went negative this month. Oh dear, let me see if I can pull up my numbers here. 1 second. Oh, it's going into April. Sorry, I'm going to edit all that out. Going into April, I was allowed to buy 4 books. That's base. It's like half-ish of the number of owned books I read. And this is only ebooks and audiobooks. The number of owned books I read in the previous month. So I had 4. Going into April, my budget was 4. Now, what do I count on this? Any book that I buy that I have not read that's going on my TBR shelf. So any print book that does that. Ones I just showed obviously aren't going on my TBR shelf, so they don't count. Ebooks, same thing. If they're going into the TBR queue, they count. I am counting NetGalley, which is what did me in, because I was budgeted 4 and I bought 12. Yeah. I will tell you that 6 of those were NetGalley. I am not going to go through the titles of those because they are all pre-release. I do tell you when I do a NetGalley book, so you'll know what it is. I'm not going to talk about those yet. But just know, let me fix this. There were 6 NetGalley books on there, which left 6 other books that I bought, which took me way over. I had 2 digital books that I bought. They were both on sale. They were both classics. They are books that they did not have at the library. I actually looked. I could buy print books of them to put if I like them on my shelf, but these are the ones I would actually read. The first one is Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I have never read this book. It's one of my bookish best friends. It's her favorite book. I got it for $1.99. And the other one is In Cold Blood, which is a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time and just haven't. Again, went on sale. I bought it for $1.99. And then I had 4 print books. So the first one was Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. I did not like any of the Book of the Month selections in April, so I got this. I have not read Greek mythology, but my daughter loves Greek mythology and she's interested in reading some of these adult retellings. Now Greek mythology has a lot of stuff in it. So it's not so much I'm worried about the content, like the content's going to be there, but she already knows about it. It's like how it's written. So I very much want to read these before she reads them to see if it's something that she's actually ready for, which is why I got this one, because she's very interested and she has very strong feelings about the story of Ariadne. Let me tell you, that girl's got her feelings. So I got that. And then I had 2 pre-orders from authors, and I usually only pre-order print books if I am pretty sure they're going to end up on my keeper shelf. And I have started one of them, and I can tell you that it will end up on my keeper shelf. And we have a revisit from Mr. J. Ryan Stradal. I am actually thinking I might finish this book today, and I will do a full review of it. So I'm just going to hold my thoughts on it, because I will tell you my ultimate thoughts on this book. They kind of are depending on something that hasn't happened yet. So I don't want to say anything until I do that review, but I am really enjoying this book. I really like this author, as you can tell. And then the other one was Symphony of Secrets by Brendan Slocum. He wrote The Violent Conspiracy, which I really enjoyed. I had a few issues with it. Like, some of the characters were really like cliche. They're kind of like cliches, and that kind of bothered me. Both the African-American and some of the white characters, I was like, really? Really, we're gonna go there? But anyway, and it wasn't, I mean, it was just, the main character and the main characters in the book were very well rounded. It was these secondary characters. I was like, okay, you could have spent a little more time on that. But I'm interested to see if that got better with this. Desmond Z recently did this. He said he liked it, just not as much as Violent Conspiracy. So we'll see. I have this one. I will probably not be reading this next, but I do plan to read it this month. And then I already mentioned this book, but this is from the last time I went to the library sale. I got East of Eden. I've actually been waiting to see if it would go on sale at Kobo, and it has not. And I bought this thinking, well, I'll just, have this for a keeper shelf item and just read the ebook when it comes out, so it wouldn't go on my TBR. But then I looked at it, and the print in it is large enough that I should not have a problem reading it. So onto the TBR it went, and that's East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Marcella is going to be hosting a read-along with this, which is why I have it. So there you go. That's my little vlog entry for today. I have done a lot of videos today because I'm trying to get things done. We're getting into the really busy time of the year for me with the kids ending school, plus I'm just gone this weekend. And so I'm trying to get some videos in the can so they're ready to go. So you'll see my disheveled, it was raining outside, and I'm an Oregonian, so I don't bring an umbrella or a coat with a hood. I just get rained on. So I'm a little disheveled today, but that's fine. Anyway, so that is that. I may still do a review of the Lakeside, Saturday Night at the Lakeside Supper Club today if I finish it. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, Otherwise, we probably won't see me on, the next time you see me on this video, I should say, will be my kind of wrap up for the week of the vlog. I'm hoping this vlog isn't as long as last week's, because last week's was really long. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. We'll see what the final count is. Hold on. Oh Lord, people, I have been sitting here talking and talking and talking and not videoing. This is how my day is going. Sorry. Anyway, I'm on my setup and it keeps shifting, so I'm sorry if I kind of start going like this. Anyway, that was my week. So let me sum up. I finished 2 books. The first book I can't hold up because I have misplaced it. I think it is somewhere in my bedroom, probably like fell between like the bed and something, I don't know. But my husband's still in bed. Yes, it is almost 9 a.m. He's still in bed, so I can't go looking for it. But that is Faithful by Alice Hoffman. This was an A+ book for me. I've loved everything by Alice Hoffman that I've read. I love her writing style. I just love her outlook on life. She's an author who frequently uses magical realism, which I know is not everybody's cup of tea. However, that is not in this book. So if you're interested in Alice Hoffman, but you're not interested in the magical realism, this would be a good place to start. None of her books, well, she has one series, and that series really she wrote the Practical Magic series, which was published completely out of order. Like, she wrote Practical Magic, and then 20 years later, 25 years later, something like that, she wrote a prequel to it. And then like 2 years later, she wrote a prequel to that. And then she wrote a finale to the whole thing. It's well worth it. I highly recommend that series. I love it, but still, it's a little strange the way that came out. Anyway, you can start anywhere with Alice Hoffman is what I'm saying. But if you don't like magical realism, this is a good place to start. I am counting this towards Mental Health May. This book is about a young woman whose name is Shelby, who is dealing with severe depression and or severe clinical depression and PTSD after a traumatic accident that she was in, that she survived, but it left her best friend in a vegetative state. And then after that, she had like another traumatic incident that made things just a little bit worse. So we meet her, she's at her low point. And she doesn't stay there. That would be a horrible book if she just stayed there through the whole book. But she doesn't stay at the horrible point. But you can tell that like the depression is always something that's kind of behind her. And in its own way kind of steers her a little bit in the decisions that she makes. And there are times when she has control of it, and there's times when it has control of her. And I thought that was handled really well by Alice Hoffman. So A+, Faithful by Alice Hoffman. I will find it at some point and put it on my keeper shelf. The other book I finished this week was one that I tried like 3 times yesterday to make a dedicated video of a review of it, and something happened every single time. So I'm just going to talk about it now and forget the idea of doing a video review. And that is Saturday Night at the Lakeside Supper Club by J. Ryan Stradal. And this book was one of my highly anticipated books for this year. I love J. Ryan Stradal. This is his 3rd book. His first book was Kitchens of the Great Midwest, and his second book was The Lager Queen of Minnesota. This book, like his other books, is set in Minnesota. If I remember correctly, his first 2 books mainly take place in the Twin Cities. This one takes place in the Northwoods. Now, I have spent a lot of time in Minnesota, a lot of summers in Minnesota. I love it there. We weren't in the Northwoods. We were in the Lake Country, which is, you know, fine. But I went to camp once in the Northwoods, so, you know, there's that. But this book brought me back there, so that was great. His first 2 books, I read them before I started like my new rating system. So I think they were both 5-star, which was before I started giving grades. This one I would give an A2. There's 2 reasons why it's an A and not an A+. One of those reasons may not even be a thing. First of all, there is a character in there who was very difficult for me to like or to feel sympathy for. Is a character I completely understood, a character I found very realistic. I still didn't like her. And I said in my vlog earlier that like everything kind of like was depending on how something happens in the book. So I wasn't going to say anything about it. I was really worried that there was no way that that particular part of the story, which involved this character, could be resolved in a way I felt okay with the way it was going. It was. Yay, J. Ryan Stradal. You handled it very well. why I say this may not be a thing is I honestly don't know if Stradal's intent was for this character to be that unlikable. It seems strange that it would, given what the character is and the role she plays in the story, but also I felt like maybe that was intentional. So I honestly don't know. The rest of the characters are all very likable. All of the characters are very well written and very interesting. The other reason is, well, let me go back a little bit. This is a book that goes back and forth in time between 1934 and 2014, so 80 years. Not a historical fiction. Doesn't matter. The year where action happens doesn't matter. It's just a signifier as to where the characters are in their lives. It is not tied to the time. I think there's a mention early in one of the early sections about a Hooverville, and that's the only thing that ties it to anything. So we go back and forth too in time, so it's not linear. But the last section is a section that's 2000 to 2014. That particular section felt both rushed and overly long to me, which is a strange combination, I know. I think probably a better way of saying it is just that the pacing didn't feel like the rest of the book. And this felt like, if you look at a house where they've done an addition to the house, which is totally not the style, like the house was built in 1900 and the addition was built in 1960, and the house has the 1900 style and the addition has the 1960 style. That's kind of what it felt like to me. No problem with what the events in that section. I think that they were great. In fact, it's the end of the book. The book ends beautifully. It's just the style, and it didn't feel like it quite fit in with the rest of the book. And I think that he could have written that a little bit differently so that it did. Those are really the only reasons why it's an A instead of an A+. Otherwise, I would say definitely read this book. Of his 3 books, this is number 3, but if the other 2 are 5 stars and this is an A, that's still pretty high praise. So, Saturday night at the Lakeside Supper Club. So what am I reading now? Currently, I don't have a print book going. My plan was, once I finished Saturday night at the Lakeside Supper Club, my plan was to just not read a print book until tomorrow when I am at Girl Scout camp doing I don't know what. Seriously, I don't know whether I am going to have something I need to do or if I am just going to be sitting there and being a body so that they can make ratio. I don't know. No one has told me. So I'm coming prepared. I am bringing a book and I am bringing my Kobo, but my plan was to bring Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie because that is my Agatha Christie book for this month. Agatha Christie's pretty easy to read, and even in this book where I don't have to pay as close attention to the details because I already know the resolution of the mystery, I just kind of felt like I don't know what the situation is going to be at camp. I don't know if I'm going to actually have reading time. If I do have reading time, is it really uninterrupted? What's going to happen? I don't know. So I decided to put that off a little bit and go for something even a little bit lighter and a little more fun. So I'm going to read Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is my Lily book for this month. I got this for her for Christmas. She has not read it yet. Anyway, this is actually from everything I have heard about it, a very Agatha Christie-ish book. So it's not far off from that. But I just felt like this would be a better choice to do at camp. I may read like the first chapter today so I can get it just kind of a little bit of a jump on it and then just take it on with camp with me. On my Kobo, I am still reading Hello Beautiful. Can finally remember the title by Napolitano. So I really am enjoying this book. This is a really beautiful book, high quality, wonderful story about 4 sisters that I can understand why people would make the assumption that it's kind of a retelling of Little Women, but it is not. I think the thing I will say about it is Little Women is mentioned in the book at one point. Like the sisters try and say, which of the Little Women are they? I think that Little Women is probably a book that Napolitano loves and is an influence for her, and it just kind of shows through it. But I know there was no intention for this to be a Little Woman retelling from an interview that I heard on a podcast with Napolitano, who said she was actually really surprised when people came and said, oh, this is a Little Women retelling. And she's like, oh, it is. I didn't even realize it was so similar. So yeah, there's that. But it is just a really beautiful book. I wish I were reading it in print though, because the way I read is my print books are what I read kind of in the chunk after lunch when I sit down and just have a chunk of reading time. And my ebooks, Kobo or Kindle generally, are what I read before I go to bed at night. And I would like to dedicate more time to this book as if it were a print book. Today I will be, because I'm not starting Truly Devious really until tomorrow, other than maybe the first chapter. But I do wish that I had this one in print. Just for me, I don't think that there's any real benefit of print over ebook. It's just how that would fit with my reading style. I do suspect, I'm not quite halfway through it, I do suspect this is a book that I will be looking for a print edition of to put on my keeper shelf though. Okay, audio. Not an audiobook, but I'm still listening to this. So it's The Reading List by Sara Nisha Adams. I'm listening to it on audio because of the upcoming book discussion at the end of this month with Book Cougars. But so this is not an audiobook. This is also not a book I own. Yeah, I have it on my list of books to find and buy, but this is not mine. I belong to a postal book group, and I'm really hoping that no one in my postal book group is watching this video because I'm totally spoiling what this book will be. But if you aren't aware, the way the postal book group works is there's usually 5 people in the group. We just have 6 in ours, so we go on a 14-month schedule instead of a 12-month schedule. It's not a big deal. So each year you choose a book and you get a notebook, like, hold on a sec. This is the notebook that goes with this book, not the notebook that I sent. Notebook. And you write, a little introduction to the book in it. And then you send the book and the notebook to the person who's after you on the list. There's a list of like everyone in the book group. And then 2 months, then you receive a book. You have 2 months, you read it, you write your thoughts in, and then you send it to the next one. So kind of books, there's 5 books or 6 books, depending how many people are in your group, that travels through to everybody. And then, on the last rotation, you get your book back and you can see what everyone thought of it. I've been in this group, I think I want to say like 5 or 5. I've been in this group for a very long time. If anyone, I can't remember the name of it. It was like one of the first book podcasts. Anne Richmond was part of it. Oh, what was the name of it? Can't remember now. Anyway, she was saying she did it, and then it just totally started. Books on the Nightstand. That's the name of it. I've been in this group since then. So anyway, I got my package yesterday, and this was the book, and I was actually really excited because not only is it a book I've already read, I kind of like that because then I don't feel as rushed to read it, but it's a book I'm currently listening to on audio. So it's like, yes. So yeah, The Reading List. I am listening to that. And then of course I still have our buddy, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And as you know from my vlog, this is the nice print copy that I bought at the library bookstore. Also, I am reading Other Terrors, that horror short story collection. Really enjoying it. This is a really fun little collection. I've already encountered some authors that were new to me that I am going to look into books for. But yeah, so that's really fun. That's still upstairs. I'm not going to go wake my husband up, although I should, because he should be up by now to get it. Anyway, so that was my week. I will try and film a little something at Girl Scout camp. I'm only going to be gone for 26 hours. We have to be at the camp at 9 tomorrow morning, and then we leave by 11 on Sunday. And I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this is. Anyway, so we'll see. Hopefully it's been a great reading week. My goal for this week is to finish Hello Beautiful. I really need to make some forward progress with that one. And I do think if I haven't finished Truly Devious by the time I get back, because who knows what this weekend's going to hold, I am going to swap my print reading and my Kindle reading until I finish those, at least until I finish Truly Devious, or at least until I finish one of the books, and then I'll switch back. So, because Hello Beautiful is a library book, so I do need to finish it at some point. There's a lot of holds, so I need to finish it. Anyway, I'm going to go now so I can get this all edited and up and then start packing for this camp, and I will talk to y'all later. If you made it through this and you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, follow me on social media. All the information's at the end of the video and in the description box. And if you are an astute reader, you will see that I have changed that little message. Anyway, I will talk to you all later. Bye.